Right, good morning, everybody. It is Friday. It's day one of the Lawnmower Queen's Plate Festival. I'm flying solo today, but I have to tell you that the team have overnight sent through some thought processes for the first day's racing at Kenilworth. We're going to just dwell on the Friday meeting. Tomorrow morning, obviously, will be Lawnmower Queen's Plate Day, and we'll have a look at the betting there. I'll be sharing some betting with soccershop.bet as well, but I quite like today's card. Not easy. Of the two cards, Friday and Saturday, no doubt that today is tougher. It's more open. And as the Ghost Rider said to me early this morning, surely the key is Justin Snaith. In the one race, he's got 8 horses out of the 16 runners, 50% of the field. But his whole day is populated with horses. I think he's got something like 40% of the runners on the day. So he will have his winners, and he will also have a strong effect on today's dividends and what's likely to transpire. So let's get straight into the racing, shall we, and have a look at the first race of the day. And before I do that, by the way, don't forget that Nico is doing all the admin as far as our Jewel in the Crown weekend selections are concerned. So on this forum, I run through race by race. I give my selections and opinion about the races, but we don't pass on any exotic information or best bets or any of that nature, although I probably will have a price booster for you. But if you're looking for that for the weekend at a cost of 200 Rand for all 4 meetings, that includes today, Queen's Plate, plus Sunday and Monday, where, of course, the Ghost Rider and Nino get themselves involved, then contact Nico. You'll see it here on a video and the information to get hold of him for the selections for the Jewel of the Crown tipping service for the weekend. It's 200 Rand for all meetings. One figure pays for all, so you'll need to contact him sometime this morning if you want the Friday selections, which are busy being worked upon as I record. So let's get into the racing. And the first race of the day, well, I can tell you that number 6 Pacific Green, since I landed in Cape Town, people said to me, what ocean should you be going to? I said the Atlantic. They said, no, the Pacific. They said, look how beautiful the grass is, what color it is. And I said, green. And they said, put it together and you've got the winner of the first race. Everybody talking about Pacific Green. He has been supported, but I can tell you that the money and the talk for him has been incessant since I've arrived in Cape Town. So I'm just passing on that information. The betting market is quite interesting because there's also been money for Candice Bass-Robinson's horse, number 7 from 22 to 10 into 2 to 1. And then now support for number 1, Act Naturally, who's the other Snaith runner in the race. Anton Marcus rides for Nick Johnson. This is a daughter of Quirari out of the mare Mike Kazzy. You'll remember Mike Kazzy as being very useful as a race mare. So she's also nicely bred. I must be honest, of the pedigrees, I thought the number 1, Act Naturally, was probably more precocious. I know that number 6 Pacific Green is a give me the green light, but she is out of Pacific Dynasty, who's a daughter of Dynasty, obviously, and comes from a stout staying family. So it's interesting, but obviously Pacific Green is showing a lot at home. That is the first leg of the bipod. My suggestion, as always with the bipod, is have a look at them on the way down to the stop before you put on your perm. Leave it to as late as possible and see if there's a follow through betting wise on number 6 Pacific Green. If it goes off at 6, 7 to 10, then I think it's definitely the right one. But if Act Naturally shortens further and Pacific Green drifts back out, I think you need to factor that in. But there's not really much exposed form I can say about race 1. Race 2, let's move on to the second race of the day, where the interesting thing here is that Navy Strength has been gelded and has Anton Marcus on board and comes back up the straight, has eased in the betting market from 15 to 10 out to 3 to 1. Number 5, Axel, is, as I'm being bothered here by the cat, which is making her debut at this flat here. There you go. This is called Simba, which is probably an omen, by the way, because my sister told me, I don't know if anybody else knows this out there, I'm sure that people do, but Rainbow Bridge, who runs tomorrow and is most of our selection to win the Queen's Plate, is named after a book or some poetry that was written, Rainbow Bridge, about when pets cross the bridge at death, waiting to be reunited with their owners. I never knew that. Maybe you guys did, but it's a bit of an omen that I've got Simba here, tipping me Rainbow Bridge. Anyway, coming back to this race, Navy Strength is eased in the betting market. Number 5, Axel, is a first timer. It's got Andre Nell training it and Grant van Niekerk riding. The money has come for number 4, Active Thunder. Now, our good friend, the tipster, Darren Burrows, owns this with his team Thunderbird Syndicate. And from the grapevine, I've heard that it's fancied, and I'm not surprised because he's drawn 3. His penultimate run, there's been 3 winners out of it. And he is a 4-year-old son of Active Thunder. So I certainly would respect, he's a son of Active War. He's called Active Thunder. And Craig Zaki rides. I think that in this race, he's definitely got a chance as number 4, Act of Thunder. Number 7, King of Colts, has been back from 5-1 into 9-2. And that's Greg Sheen's ride, also well enough drawn at 4. Number 1, Bluff on Bluff, as the Ghost Rider said to me this morning, he's had his chances as Bluff on Bluff, and he's been somewhat disappointing in so much as he hasn't shed his maiden certificate. This is his 9th start. So I think this race is open. If Navy Strength is drifting as he is, drifting like a barge from 15 to 10 to 3 to 1, it opens the race up to a myriad of possibilities. There's also money for Dean Canamere's first time, number 10, Ravano. Now, he's a son of Silvano out of the Jetmaster and Mayor River Jatez, who will all remember won the Met. But being a Silvano and the mother's stamina, you would think that he'd probably, certainly in time, be better over a bit of ground. But there has been some support for him. He's bred in the purple, and you wouldn't be discounting the Kaya Stables number 10, Ravano, totally, particularly if there's money for him, which there is. So this race, I think, complicates issues. It's the first leg of the PA. Make sure that you don't go out. But I think that the money probably tells the story here in terms of the drift and in terms of the support. For me, initially, I thought Navy Strength would be the right horse with the gelding and the blinkers going on. But yeah, in fact, what I can do is while I'm here, let's quickly check for you, because I do get communication from the Snaith stable, and let's see what they actually say about this horse, because I think that's going to be fairly critical. Jono Snaith, let's have a look. Well, I can tell you in the first race, by the way, Pacific Green has shown tremendous speed back home, and she would take some beating. There you go. So that confirms that. Race 2, Navy Strength prefers further, but has solid form and an each-way chance. So no overconfident statement, which is probably why Navy Strength has gone out to 3-1. But I don't think there's any doubt that he'll improve with the gelding and with the blinkers on. Okay, let's move on to the third race of the day. So we're going to put in a few in the opening leg of that PA. Right, here we go. Let's move on to race 3, where again, the Snaith Yard has a very strong hand. Zippy Over is the 3-1 favorite, marginal favorite. There has been money for the stable companion, number 5, Point et Moi. Grant van Niekerk rides that, and that's shortened into 7-2. Raising Quinn is 33-10. It looks like a very competitive race. This number 1, Charity Ball, who is a 4-year-old, is relatively firm in the market at 11-2, as is number 3, Tamil Tiger. Both of those, Tamil Tiger drawn well at 3, Charity Ball drawn 4, I think could have a say in the outcome. And then number 7, Miss Greenlight, was disappointing last time. Surely she's better than that. And she's been touched in from 7-1 into 13-2. Does the Snaith Yard have to say here? Well, certainly the Ghost Rider felt so. He thought that the winner would be either 6 or 5, Zippy Over or Point et Moi. For me, no. I'm going to go a little bit wider there. And let's just have a look here. Point et Moi has a wide draw, says John O'Snaith. But Zippy Over has won well and is an each-way bet. So certainly on John O'Snaith's comments, they do prefer number 6, Zippy Over, which is reflected in the betting. I'm going to go a little bit wider here. I do think number 1, Charity Ball, will run a nice race, but my clear first choice is number 8, Raising Quinn, who wasn't drawn well last time, drawn 10 out of 11. Blinkers on, was doing her best work at the finish. I think that she is the horse to follow in race 3, number 8, Raising Quinn. But as you've seen, It's fairly open. They bet 3-1 the field, and there has been money for a number of horses there as well. Let's move on to race 4. Small field. I say the smaller the field, the bigger the upset. It was a small field. By the way, in the previous race, number 9, Shield of Light, is scratched. So race 3, number 9, comes out. Moving on to race 4, it was a small field. It's even smaller now, with number 6, Silver Sabre, coming out. Just 5 horses contesting here. The betting, number 1, Zarina, even money out to 11-10. The money is gained for Team Snaith, Maria Corral. Simonga Kamalo rides for Greg Bortz and Mr. Bram van Hasteen, and from 5-2 into 2-1, I think you've got to respect that. Number 3, Marmalisa might just need this. Not the draw really matters now. She had the worst of the draw, but such a small field, it's probably not really an issue. I thought the number 2, Really Royal, was the potential upset in the race from Team Nath, drawn okay at 3. Louis Nkotwa rides. He's very familiar with the filly. He's won on her twice. So if Zarina were to fluff her lines, then for me, number 2, Really Royal, will pick up the pieces. But it's a pinnacle stakes, and as such, the conditions of the race certainly suit the favourite, number 1, Zarina, and Candice Bass-Robinson and Aldo De Meyer could pick up a quick double with race 3, number 8, Raisin Quinn, and race 4, number 1, Zarina. Let's move on to race 5. Which is, I believe, a very competitive and open race. They bet 3-1 the field, actually 33-10 the field. Hyde Park is the favourite, 33-10. Number 7, Waiting for Summer, is just about 4-1. My Bestie is 4-1. Saturday Aziz in the betting market. Darjeeling has been the horse that's been backed. Darjeeling was flying last time behind Pakaya, who of course takes his place in the Lormont Queen's Plate tomorrow. But he's not particularly well in the race. I thought on a couple of lines, there were horses like Zappa, who the Ghost Rider fancies a bit, who come into the race on the Darjeeling form lines and should beat him. Likewise, number 7, Waiting for Summer, who, if you have a look at the run on the 20th of October, is 5.5 kilograms better off with Darjeeling and comfortably beat the horse anyway. That, well, not comfortably, but did beat her the other day. Or him the other day. So this race is complicated. I think the number 2, My Bestie, however, does set a standard. Josh Solomons takes the weight off. He's got 1.5 kilograms off. It's been running behind the likes of Triple Fortune. Sachdev earlier on, if you have a look at the form line, has him beat. Russian Rock as well. So the standard, I think, from a PA perspective, is set by number 5, My Bestie. But I think you have to shop a little bit deeper. Number 4, Baybury, on a number of lines, comes in quite well. I've mentioned that Ghost Rider, like number 6, is Zappa. The reason he'd like that is that his Zappa is 2.5 kilograms better off with number 8, Darjeeling, on their last meeting for a beating of 1.5 lengths. So theoretically, Zappa should finish a length in front of Darjeeling here. So if you fancy Darjeeling at 7-1 now, Zappa certainly comes into the race. And then long shot support for number 9, Winchester Mansion, who was pretty impressive on debut. He hasn't run badly since then, 2 average runs, got a negative draw of 9, but he could easily flash up. So in summing up this race, I think it's very open and competitive. I'm going to be playing for a result and looking a bit wider. The horses that I'm looking towards, certainly number 5, My Bestie, is my each way suggestion. But looking at Ruffy's likes of number 4, Baybury, and perhaps even a bit deeper than that. Let's move on to race 6 and have a look at this race. It's due off at 4:30. Very competitive race. Again, coming back to comments from the likes of Nino and the Ghost Rider, they all had their fancies. Nino's got a fancy coming up in a moment that he really does like today. In this race, the Ghost Rider felt again that it was a Snaith dominated race. Number 10, Black Silver, being his first selection. Well, Black Silver won very well last time, was impressive, got the draw of 1 today. Her mother, Ebony Flyer, we all remember. She's a daughter of Sylvana, she's bred in the purple, and she does set a standard here. And particularly off 54 kilograms, I think she's going to be a real force to be reckoned with. I prefer her to a stable companion, number 8, Silver Darling, who is a 3-year-old. and they race off the same weights. But I think that there are some to have a look at here. Number 3, Scented Mistress. Well, we all know Bernard Fader's been in a real drought as far as winners is concerned. This is the type of filly who I'm hoping it gives him a chance to get out of that. Bernard will be hoping that the cards fall well for him over the next 48 hours, and Scented Mistress could be one of those to change his fortune. Number 9, Do Angels Cry, is eased in the betting market. I didn't think particularly came out well in the handicapping of this race. Number 6, Celtic Knight, on the other hand, did. I quite liked her chances here. She's at 9-1. Number 4, So Flawless, Richard Ferree rides. He doesn't often ride for Andre Nel Yard. He's only actually ridden 10 times for Andre's Yard, and he hasn't had a winner. He's had 2 seconds. So unusual to see Richard riding for Andre Nel, but I think in this case, So Flawless has definitely a chance. My roughie that I would suggest you do put into all calculations is number 7, Jasmine. She's at 10-1, and I quite like her chances in an open race. But you can see that there's been money everywhere. Number 1, Musical Glitch, the top weight has shortened. So too is number 2, Pink Tourmaline, who's got a 13 draw to overcome. Either Nino or the Ghost Rider felt that number 2, Pink Tourmaline, could improve. And I see that Pierre Cornet Orpha is scheduled to ride. This has just come back from Mauritius. Pierre Cornet Orpha, he rides number 2, Pink Tourmaline. So this race, yes, Black Silver is probably my first choice, but I don't think there's much value in 22-10. So if you shop beyond that, there's options for you there. I've mentioned number 7, Jasmine. I would certainly suggest that you put her into the play in a very open race, just to confirm that Intinga down the bottom here is scratched. And here's another horse right at the bottom there, number 5, Catch a Falling Star, who ran 3rd in this race last year. This is the Jamaica handicap. She ran 3rd last year to Elusive Fortune. The only thing was she was rated an 83 this time last year. And because of her 3rd, she went to a 92. And then she ran in the Stayers race on Met Day. Because of those exploits, she's now a 93. So a year later, she's probably got a bit more, well, she has a bit more pudding to carry around, and she's drawn 11. But if you believe in the cycle theories, she did run 3rd in the race last year. Okay, enough of that race. I think it's Black Silver or wide in that race. Let's move on to race 7. And interesting race. Race 7, the feature race on the day. It is the Cartier Scepter Stakes, grade 2 over 6 furlongs. We all remember last year was Celtic Sea's year, and Celtic Sea won last year. But interestingly enough, the horse that ran 2nd last year is in the race again. It's not in the betting. Let me go further down and find it. There it is. Number 4, Favorita, who ran 2nd behind Celtic Sea last year. She's 20-1 this year. And Robert Carty rides again. Robert Carty's got an excellent record on this filly. He's ridden her 7 times for 3 wins and 2 seconds. So if you're looking for a bit of an outsider, here's number 4, Favorita, who did run 2nd to Celtic Sea, no less, last year. But back to the top of the betting boards. Well, Sound of Warning brings the Joburg form down. Richard Ferree rides for Sean Tarry. Drakenstein Stud, of course, own and bred her. And so she runs in Gaynor Silks. She's hardly put a foot wrong, including winning the Magnolia on Summer Cup Day, which was an excellent run. And she brings quality and form from Joburg. She's also drawn 1. So she really is going to have a say, I would believe, in this race. She carries only 55.5 kilograms, being a 3-year-old. But let's quickly talk about the Brett Crawford runners in this race. He's got 2 of them, and they're both owned by Ridgemont. The Kisvetters, number 1, Kitty Cat Chat, won very well last time and managed to hold her stable companion Capitana at bay. This, of course, that was over 1,000 meters in the Southern Cross Stakes, but this is over the 6 furlongs of the Scepter Stakes, and as a result is a completely different kettle of fish. I think that's probably why Anton Marcus has chosen to ride number 2, Capitani. I'm sure he probably could have had choice of both rides. So interesting that Capitana is Anton Marcus's ride. Drawn 14, though. You probably want to be a little bit closer to the fence, but nevertheless sets a standard, as does number 1, Kitty Cat Chat. It's not impossible that this Daughter of Press statement wins over 6 furlongs, because she has won before. You could argue, though, not necessarily in this company. So that's the favorite. Those are the two Kisvet horses. But let's talk about Justin Snaith, who's got 8 runners out of the 16 horses here. He's got half the field. The money has come for number 15, Gimme Dat. Now, this is Nino's Shruti of the day. It was his Shruti when it was 8 to 1. It's now 5 to 1. So the money has come for this daughter of Gimme the Green Light out of a Western Winter mare. She's got a bit of leeway to find on Kitty Cat Chat. She was beaten just over 3 lengths, 3.2 lengths by her last time. But the extra 200 is definitely going to suit Gimme Dat. There's no doubt about that. So Grant van Niekerk rides from a nice enough draw of 8. And Gimme Dat will be doing her best work at the finish and running on. So I'm not surprised that she has been supported from 8 to 1 into 5 to 1 for Team Snaith. The other Snaith runners, well, there's a whole bunch of them. There's 7 of them by definition. I'm not going to talk about them individually because Gimme Dat is certainly my selection, apart from I mentioned Favorito, who ran second in this race last year. So Gimme Dat would certainly be my choice of the 8 Snaith runners. I need to talk about the Candice Bass-Robinson runners now. She has 5 of the 16 horses. And here, number 9, Mamsen Toti, is the shortest in the betting of the Bass-Robinson runners. You'll see just from the silks there that Gaynor Rupert has a number of horses that are running. Sound of Warning will be in her colours, Mamsen Toti in her colours, and also Santa Maria. So when you're watching the race, make sure you've got the right colour cap, because one will be blue, one will be white, one will be red, and there's probably a yellow one thrown in there as well. But the money hasn't come from Mamsen Toti. She opened 4 to 1, it's eased out to 5 to 1. I think she fits into the category of Gimme Dat in so much as she will be running on and doing her best work at the finish. Whether this 6 furlongs is going to be a bit sharpish for her, only the race will tell. But she's got quality, and she is drawn to Aldo's plus half a kilogram. Hopefully it doesn't go down a neck, so that makes a difference. But I think a Mamsen Toti certainly has to be included, as does number 12, Santa Maria. There's not much between them. Keegan de Mela retains the ride there. So to sum up, this race is a race not to be missed. Blink and you'll miss it. Although it's over 1200, they're still going to go pretty quick. Kitty Cat Chat, I'm sure, is not going to hang around. Where are the horses to go for, and where's the value? Well, the value was definitely in Gimme Dat when it opened up at 8 to 1. I've no doubt. But now at 5 to 1, you probably wouldn't want to go chasing 5 to 1 in this field. Sound of Warning, likewise, when it opened up 5 to 1, was probably good value, but that value might have gone now. In the PAs and the exotics, I think you've got to go a few. I've mentioned those that I think will be the dangers. For the PA wise, I'm going the following horses. I'm going 15 Gimme Dat. I'm trying to do them in numerical order. I'm actually going to go 9 Mamsen Toti, 11 Sound of Warning, and 15 Gimme Dat. So the way the betting's panned out, that would actually confirm what I liked. Kitty Cat Chat, interesting, 10 to 1. Should never have really been 10 to 1. I know it's an extra 200 meters, but I can see why they tickled up. That was probably over the odds, even though she takes on the extra 200, because I think you'll get a run for your money. She's not going to be hanging around, that is for sure. So interesting renewal of this Scepter Stakes Grade 2. And I definitely think that the colours of Gaynor Rupert will be seen to the fore there, hopefully chasing home the likes of number 15, Gimme Dat. Let's move on to race 7 now. No, we don't run race 7, so this will be race 8. And very open race, probably the toughest race of the day to end proceedings here. All the horses in the race. I see Dosey Day doesn't have a price, so we might have to quickly check if that's scratched. But the favourite again was Team Snaith here. Have got the top 2 in the betting market. And I think this race is fairly open. I'm trying to find where my roughie is in the betting. Just got to go down a little bit here to find it. Okay, so open, you've got to go fairly wide. If you're running the exotics, I think the more you have in the last race, the better for you. My first choice in the race is probably number 10, La Amie Jean, who's a daughter of Trippy. Now, she's at 12 to 1 in the betting market. And she's drawn 9, which is probably not the most ideal of draws. I prefer if she was drawn a bit lower. But she comes out on my ratings pretty well here. And I wouldn't leave her out of the exotics, number 10, L'Ami Jean or Jean in the last race. But other than that, Bye Bye Bombshell comes into the race quite well. That's got Rachel Vernicker taking the weight off. The favorite obviously sets the standard. We all know the pedigree. She's out of that prolific fast from tame family, the Western Winter family of Covenant. So she does set a standard. She's drawn 2. Anton Marcus rides. The other runners I want to touch on in the race, certainly number 6, Winter Fury, comes in on some form line. She's only carrying 57.5, so she could pop up. And yeah, number 1, Area 51, has got Smunk Kamalo back on, drawn 3. She's back up the straight for Dr. Warner and Jono himself. And Winter Mosaic, Richard Faree rides. Any of these could get themselves into the play. I think you've got to go wide in the last race. As I said, my value is on number 10 in the last race. I would go field if you can there. So that sums up our day 1 of the festival. Just a reminder for exotic plays and best bets, etc. We do have that tipping sheet going out for the crown in the jewel of the crown for weekend racing for Lormont Queen's Plate tomorrow and today's Friday meeting. So just contact Nico. You know how to do that. That video and that information is on our YouTube pages. Do I have a price booster for you? Yes, I think I'm going to price boost a horse for you, which is going to be in race 6. And I'm just going to throw in a little bit of a value horse, number 7, Jasmine, each way. Race 6, number 7, Jasmine. She's a daughter of Futura. She come down a little bit in the merit ratings. And I think at 10-1, she's offers a little bit of value, particularly if we can get 14-1 and a couple of places on at those prices, number 7, Jasmine, in race 6. But a competitive race, as I mentioned earlier on, a competitive race meeting, I think tougher than tomorrow, where there are potential bankers left, right, and centre. Not so today. So very competitive racing on day 1 of the Lormont Queen's Plate Festival. Good luck, everybody. Break a leg, and I hope whatever you're punting arrives.